Sainers, welcome to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the first official preview video for Saints TV for 2023, the big one on Sunday against Fremantle. And I just want to take this moment to thank Ticket Blaster for sponsoring today's preview. They're an official reseller of premium tickets. They do it for the football, they do it for concerts, they do it for a whole host of different events. But seeing as we're talking about the football, they have got like genuinely Medallion Club tickets for like $100. It's amazing. Official reseller. If you want to upgrade, if you want to go and have a good time and get into the Medallion Club or any other sort of hospitality packages that might interest you, go to ticketblaster.com.au and get some tickets there. Really, really good, guys. So thanks again for them for sponsoring today's video. Now, straight into the game. Or maybe not straight into the game. The whole build-up. You know, the preseason itself, Ross Lyon coming in, and then obviously the injuries. You know, they hit us hard. You look at every other team's injury list, and they've got, you know, a couple of players. Every team's got 3 or 4, that's about it. But ours is on another page. You know, there's probably 8 or 9 there that you could name. And a lot of them are in really, really key positions. Most of them are key positions, in our forward half in particular. So I feel like coming up against a team like Fremantle, who are generally just a very, very good outfit, very hard to play against, and very, very sound defensively. You know, the types of the defenders that they've got obviously Alex Pearce, Luke Ryan, Brendan Cox, to name a few. They are very, very good defenders. They're a tall team. And for us to lose players like Max King, who was a big difference against them last year when we played them in Perth, he was the game changer with Jack Higgins, we all remember. It's going to hurt. And then you throw in Tim Membry, you throw in Jack Hayes, Nick Caulfield setback, no Dan McKenzie. It hurts. You know, it hurts big time. But there's still excitement. You know, as much as it is a little bit panic stations, you want to go into round one every year with your best team. But we're not going to have that. But we are going to have a lot of new faces. No doubt the club is going to announce that Mateus Filippo should debut. I think we all know that he will. But off the back of his great preseason and his X factor and his goal kicking ability, which we're going to lack with King and Membry and these guys missing. We need people that can just kick goals, and he is a player that can naturally kick goals. Then you've got the hammer, Anthony Caminiti. I'm backing him to play as well. Full forward, we should see him there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Campbell gets a gig as well and supports Rowan Marshall so he can rotate and stretch the likes of Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson, who is going to be a very, very big problem. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's named at full forward, and then you've got players like Nat Fyfe right next to him, and then there are a whole host of genuine small forwards that are just very good at pressuring the football and creating chaos in their forward half. So it's going to be a challenge, but I really think this is the perfect round one game for us to sink our teeth into the season, even with the injuries that we've got. We're not coming up against a Geelong. We're not coming up against a red-hot Melbourne or even a Richmond or a Carlton who was supposed to go up the ladder this year. We're coming up against a team that surprised last year, and they won a final. They went into the semis and got knocked out, and they took care of us pretty comprehensively the second time we played them at Marvel. But It's a sort of team that you don't know what to expect this year again. You know, are they going to continue that upwards trajectory like they did last year, or are they going to stagnate? We don't know. I think that Ross Lyon has got us primed for this game. What I love is that I think it's just the fans that are panicking. You know, I really like the vibe around the club. You know, even Ross Lyon's interviews, and even when you go to training, we've got a lot of injuries, but you just don't see that from the players. It's not reflected at all. We seem to be very focused, and the players that know are going to have to stand up. You know, the likes of Caminiti, the likes of even Ryan Burns on a wing, these sort of guys to come in and do a job. Liam Stocker as well. I think they're going to thrive. I think they know that this is the time to stand up. It might be your first game. It might be your 40th game, like Burnsy or whatever. But with those players missing, there's no excuse but to stand up. And Ross Lyon is going to be looking at a lot of these blokes and going, who can carry us in the absence of these really important players, and who's just a passenger? Who really wants to stake a claim and be a really, really important player for us in this tough period? Because we're going to need it. We're going to need to grind this game. We're going to need to grind most of the first part of the season until we get some of these players back. And to get 3-0 on a Sunday, twilight, I think is a really big opportunity for us. I want the fans to get to the game. I want to get a big crowd there. I want to get at least 30k would be amazing. It's Ross's first game back. And we want some of these new players to debut and to get a gig in front of a really, really hostile St Kilda crowd. Because that's when we're at our best, 09, 10, early 2000s. We packed the stadiums and it was a fortress. So we need to create that environment this year. It's our 150th, but nonetheless, regardless of that, I think we still need to create that environment because we're going to outnumber Fremantle. So let's create a really, really loud, hostile environment. And that just creates energy for the boys to push because we're going to need to be that extra man, that extra player in this period of time because we're not going to have the luxury of kicking to a kingy and that's it. We're going to have to really, really grind it. So I'm looking forward to that. As a Saints fan, you're not used to things coming easy anyway. So this is really no surprise. Fremantle are a good team across the board, and they've got weapons everywhere. Their midfield bats very deep, and they don't have that many star players, but they're just very, very well rounded. So you know what you're going to get from them. So it really is on us to come out firing, to really dictate the way this game is going to be played, because the whole preseason we said we were going to play fast. We saw a bit of that against Essendon. We got battered against Melbourne, but that was kind of hard to really gauge how that game was. But Essendon, you could see what we were trying to do. And that game plan suits, the smaller players. So the Higgins, the Butlers, these sort of guys that can really get hold of their opponents. Fremantle's back line is good, but I think we can still trouble them if we get the ball into our forward line enough times. All we need is for the likes of Caminiti and these players, even Sharman, if he gets a gig, hopefully he does, create a contest, hold the ball. The pressure needs to be strong in this game. Hold the ball in the back line as long as possible in our forward line and create turnover and kick goals there quickly because we're not going to be able to bomb it and clunk it and kick goals that way. We're going to have to really, really hustle for it. And I think we're built for that. I think our lineup is suited to that style, which is great. I think we've got the height when all our players are playing, and that's great. But I think without that height, without King and Membry and Hayes, I think that we've still got a lot of smalls that are very good and can be really damaging on their day. Butler, Higgins, Gresham. Philippo's not small, but he can play that and he's a target. So I think we've got the weapons still. We're not massive underdogs in this game, despite what people think. You look at the injury list and you panic, but then you look at, we're at home, we're against Fremantle. It's the first game of the year, so we literally don't know what to expect. There's no form guide at all. I think if we can get off to a winning start in this game, that is absolutely huge because round 2 we'll probably get Membry back. Then you fast forward 3 or 4 more weeks, we should get Kingy back. Another couple of weeks later, Jack Hayes, and we're looking good. Zach Jones will come back into it. Caulfield, hopefully. Dan McKenzie. And then we start to look like the St Kilda that we really think can challenge for the top 8. Because it's hard to believe that at the moment when you see the amount of players that are injured, but I still think we have enough, Sainers. I really do. I still think we have enough to get a result in this game if we execute exactly what Ross wants us to do. Because I feel like we've got the Ross game plan that is suited to the best 22, and that's when we've got everyone available, and that's a very good game plan, and I trust that. But I know for a fact that Ross has got something else up his sleeve that will suit the lack of stars or the injuries that we've acquired in the time that he's been coach. Because you look at some of the games when he's previously coached, and we've lost Rewald, we've lost other players to injury, Lenny Hayes, and we covered them. The Hawthorn game in 09 is famous for that. He dropped about 8 players, rested them. Other players came in and did their job, and we got the job done against the reigning premier pretty comfortably. So I know that's a long time ago, and you don't want to kind of just pin your hopes on that, but he's a very astute coach, and I don't think he's going to go in thinking, okay, regardless of who's out there, we're going to play the only way that I've trained, the one way. There's going to be plan A, B, and C, I reckon, with Ross. So I'm really excited to see if we can execute it first of all, and then from there, who out of the new boys and the youngsters are going to stand up and kind of put all that weight on their shoulders and lead from the front, along with the senior boys like Steele, Crouch. We've still got a pretty strong midfield that'll match well against Fremantle's. And then after that, it's just what we do around the arcs, which is going to be really critical. So I'm feeling good, Sainers. I've asked a few Sainers as well on Instagram how they're feeling about the game. So I thought I'd share what their thoughts are. This is from Thomas. He's feeling optimistic. Raphael's feeling stressed. Gemma thinks, thoughts on why Sharman isn't being talked about for the forward line? Not really a feeling, but a question. I'm not sure. I think he should be playing on the weekend. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. She's also saying she's very excited. BK Chewy saying, surprisingly optimistic. I have a feeling Owens and Filippo will rise and steal to prove doubters wrong. Owens is a big one. I can't wait to see how he goes. And obviously Windy's another injury I didn't mention. Joel says, nervous but excited. Bopper the God said, excited. Can't wait to see what our boys bring on the footy field. Just Sammy says, optimistic. Surprise is our greatest ally. Clubs don't know what to expect. I love that comment. That is great. Matt says he's pessimistic, which is, fair enough. Sammy says, excited for a new era to be built. Luke says, with all the injuries, I've got low expectations, but I'll still be there cheering hard, as we all should. Loz says, nervous, hopeful, anxious, excited. All the emotions. Samuel says, optimistic, young talent always rears its head in times like these. Yeah, this is a sort of game where you're like, who's going to stand up out of the new boys? Owens to kick 4. Like, something like that will happen. That needs to happen if we have a chance. Spooker says, feeling excited. First time in a long time, at least, it isn't going to be Groundhog Day. I know, it's going to be a very different St Kilda that we see on Sunday. Another Sam. There's so many Sams that have messaged. Better than ever. Mitch says, slightly confident. And then we've got Timmy who says, confident if Filippo gets named. So there's a lot riding on the first gamer there. And Brock says, keen as a bean. There's a lot of optimism there, which is great, and then obviously some nervousness. But overall vibe is everyone's keen to get to the footy again. Cheer on the boys. They need us more than ever in these hard times. And even more incentive, I believe, at 4 o'clock around there in the social club. I think that's on level 1. $10 donation to get in if you're not part of the social club, I believe. But me, Joycey and Marshy may be hosting a little bit of an interview with a couple of players in there. It's still TBC, but just a heads up, that might be happening. So keep an eye out for that. And also a quick shout out to the Saints TV tipping. It's growing very, very fast. I think we've got over 200 now signed up, which is amazing. So if you want to join, it's $10 buy-in. There are many, many pretty decent prizes, on offer for, cash prize for the winner, Guernseys. There might be some tickets on offer as well for weekly winners. Who knows? So if you want to sign up, www.saintstv.com.au/tipping and $10 buy-in there. You'll get an email, login, password to join the exclusive competition before tomorrow's game when the season kicks off. So I'll leave it there, Sainers. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back post-game for my my live review, hopefully. If not, it'll be an hour or two after the game back here, live on Facebook and YouTube, so stay tuned for that. I may be a little bit quiet on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just because I have a wedding to attend to and some best man duties and whatnot. So if there's not much going on the channel, don't worry. Hopefully from Sunday onwards, I'll be back better than ever, ready to go for the big season ahead. So thanks again for your support, Sainers. If you're watching this, please like, comment your thoughts, let me know how you're feeling, and most importantly, subscribe. Let's hit 10K this year. Let's do it in our 150th year. So thanks again for watching, Sainers. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. Let's go.